Hey guys, Ash here at Flights and Reviews again, and we're back looking at the flight deck on the MD11 from PMDG. As you can see, I just loaded a cold and dark state. PMDG always offers a lot of nice software. You can load panel states, aircraft fuel, you can tune the performance of the aircraft for the power of your PC, change the keyboard command, save and load panel states, you can fail things, etc. without having to use FSX's interface. If you're used to add-on aircraft, you know that FSX's interface is sometimes buggy, so it's nice that they have some external coding to deal with that. So to look at the inside, let's go ahead and hide this mini bar and fire the aircraft up here. I'm not going to do this correct procedurally, so I'm sure I'll have people in my comment section say, oh, you missed that or that. Well, that's not what I'm going for here. I'm just wanting you to show you the basic startup of this aircraft and what to expect if you were to purchase it. So we're going to go ahead and turn the battery on and arm the emergency power, and you can see it switch to on. We're going to align the inertial reference system. When we turn on number 1, it always does a fire system check. That's just standard for the aircraft. So we're going to turn these all 3 to nav so they begin aligning, and we're going to go ahead and fire up the APU. As you can see, it is now flashing available, and once that comes up to power, it will go solid and say on. There is also external power available, but I'm just going to go ahead and fire the APU up. As you can see, we have some basic PFD and MFDs up now, and the FMC is on, but in a standby mode. We need full power to the instruments to be able to run these to their limit. We're going to clear the master caution, and let's just look around the cabin real quick while the APU is coming online. PMDG has modeled most of the things you see in the cabin. You can flip down the sunshade. The tiller here for this landing gear, instead of using the rudder pedals to steer, works. You can raise and lower the yokes so the instruments are easier to get at. The seats are fully modeled, animated. You can even fold the headrests, co-pilot seat, armrest. Basically all that's fully modeled, so that's a nice touch. So our APU is now fired up, and the aircraft is in a stage where it can begin to be programmed for our flight if we were taking one. As you can see, our IRSs are aligning still. Basically on the MD11, they removed the flight engineer, the guy who used to sit back here. So all of it's controlled by fly-by-wire, FADEC, or just internal computers, from the CG being kept correct, from fuel being pumped around, to how the hydraulic system's set up in different phases of flight. All that is controlled automatically. So we're going to switch on our emergency lighting, or arm it, and as you can see, this is all showing errors due to the fact the engines are not started yet. As far as animations, to keep going on that subject, they modeled the windshield wipers. You can fold the compass, the mag compass, up and down. Again, that pretty much does it for animations in here. Everything you see works as far as buttons and so on. PMDG never puts things in the cockpit that don't work. That would be strange for them. So even these random things over here, the timer and the static airport where it's drawing air from work, etc. So let's go ahead and look at your primary flight displays. This is your primary, and obviously you have your artificial res and your altitude tape, your speed tape and your altitude tape on this side, and autopilot. The MD11 is fitted with a system called LSAS, Longitudinal Stability Augmentation System. That's a mouthful, huh? It's because they reduced the size of the vertical stabilizer to get better gas mileage with this aircraft. It made it inherently unstable, so they did put in a system to make the aircraft stable through fly-by-wire. So that is controlled on this overhead panel. You can override it, or leave it as it is. So if you had problems with it, you could override it, and of course all that's simulated. Also, if you want to easily deactivate it, you can shut these down on the glare shield. So the airplane does usually want to be flown by autopilot. It's rare that you're not going to have this aircraft on autopilot after takeoff. It can even land itself. So and it's always going to do things like pitch down if you're going too slow, or pitch up if you're having a ground proximity warning, etc. It's really an aircraft that looks out for the pilot if he's not paying attention. So obviously navigation, and we can go up here. We can look at the traffic, waypoints, VORs, airports, etc. that are close to us on this screen. You can increase, decrease the range. You can look at TCAS, traffic collision avoidance system on there. There's a timer on there. Again, these are your standard engine gauges, N1, exhaust gas temperature, and N2. This is a multifunction screen over here. If you go down to these buttons, you can look at the engine parameters, hydraulics, electrical, air, fuel. There's also a nice page. Configuration shows you PSI in the tires and brake pressure. And then there's a consequences pages. If there are failures in the flight deck or the systems, it will actually tell you on this page that a failure of the hydraulic system bus would disable these flight controls, or an aileron failing would have these consequences. It will show you the course of action to fix a problem that you would experience with systems failures. So let's go ahead and look at the FMC real quick. We're going to go ahead and hit FMC. And then here's our information on our airplane. It wants us to align the IRS. So let's go ahead, and you can use your keyboard on this if you want, if you click here, but I'm just going to use the keypad. Let's say we do TNCM to KJ, there should we go, FK. Okay, so that's now entered, and we see that we have a distance of 1,463 nautical miles to get to JFK in New York, and we return here and initialize the system. So that is telling the FMC where we are sitting. And again, this isn't a tutorial on how to fly this plane. I'm just trying to show you some of the features. You can enter your flight number. You can enter your step climb here. But if you just want to hold like 35,000 for the flight, you put it in there. And then here's your cost index. Cost index is entered in airlines to save gas. They will fly slower, cruise higher, etc. to save fuel. Cost index of 100 is basically no economy, just let's get there as fast as we can. These are all your center of gravity calculations. They're pre-calculated. If you right click and then left click the button, they enter for you automatically. So that's a nice feature. Otherwise you'd have to figure that out on your own or look at a chart. So that saves a lot of time. So we can go back and look at the flight plan, and there's obviously a discontinuity because I haven't put in any VORs or any waypoints. So just for grins to show you that, we can go ahead and flip this on and take it off, put it back on map, and we can go ahead and, if we wanted to put in ANG as a waypoint, we could just type ANG and then push where we wanted to put it in. Now it's a duplicate because it's so close, and obviously the FMCs recognize that, but that's how you would put it in. And then this is climb, where we begin our descent, and obviously you can add more or less waypoints into that list here. So like PJE, I should be able to enter. Okay, so, and there's a discontinuity, and you would just clear that. So now it shows us flying to PJE and turning around and flying straight to KJFK. If you want to insert a star, you just go ahead and go over here to star. We'll do the Cameron 4 to ILS 04 left, and then we just click insert. And again, there's always going to be a discontinuity because there's not very many waypoints. But again, that just entered our star into KJFK. And if we want to see that, we can look at our plan and increase the range. And since we're far enough away, this only goes to 640 miles. We're not going to be able to see that final plan unless we go to that waypoint. And then you can see the star, which apparently I picked one that wasn't correct for that runway, but this would be the star the aircraft flew. So that's just a really rough FMC demo. As for takeoff, we would tell it our flap position. So let's say 15 degrees of flaps, 0 for slope and wind. O is on FSX. The slope is 0. Outside air temperature is 15 centigrade. And it automatically asks you to confirm your V speeds and enters them into your airspeed tape right here. So 136, 137, 156. So they'll obviously be called out by the first officer as we pass those points. The MD11 inside is very, everything's modeled. Throttles. That was the wrong key. And the spoiler, obviously you can arm them. Flaps is over here. All these work, all these FMCs, all the radios are fully functional. The transponder, VHF, navigation radio. The only thing that's not functional is the data printer. Sometimes airlines use those to print information to tell pilots certain things about their routes, etc. So next video, I'll go ahead and do a rough start of this plane, and then we'll take it up into the air. Thanks for watching. Hope you stay tuned.